DR for doctor, John Campbell, Campbell, Dr. John Campbell, Campbell. Now, the name of the post is PCR massively wrong. That's the name of the post. PCR massively wrong. And they were citing a study that came out of Germany. And the name of the study is a calibration of nucleic acid. And in bracket you have PCR in bracket. Okay, you have that. And then it continues. A calibration of nucleic acid in bracket PCR by antibody in bracket again IgG test in Germany. The course of SARS-CoV-2 infections estimated. And you have the authors them after that. Now, of that study, that is. Now, this study coming out of Germany have shown that the PCR test that was touted to be the gold standard for diagnosing COVID was up to 90% inaccurate. And some labs and that sort of stuff was studied and so in Germany. No, that is not surprising because to a certain extent, number one, the inventor of the PCR test, I think Mr. Mullers, his name is, I forget his first name, Dr. something Mullers, I think, and he died 4 months before COVID came on the scene. Many suspect some foul play. And he was saying the PCR test that he invented is very inaccurate when it comes to looking for diseases, finding out diseases, diagnosing diseases, that sort of stuff. I start more better, but it's very inaccurate when it comes to identifying diseases. He said his own test that he invented, he says very inaccurate. But before COVID came on the scene, he died 4 months before. And like I said, many suspect foul play. Yes. So and not only that, when COVID was here and the Prime Minister and others was coming on his COVID show that they used to have, I knew from what I heard, from what I read and that sort of stuff, that if you go the PCR test, you use cycles, a certain amount of cycles. And if you go up to 28, 29, 30 cycles, your identification of whatever disease is very, very highly high chance for inaccuracy the more cycles you use in the PCR test. And I read most labs were using somewhere around 28, 29, 30 cycles. Like I said, and which others say would give you a high risk, very high risk of inaccuracy in identifying any disease, including COVID. And I mentioned this on the Prime Minister program. I asked them, these tests, these things are sending off to whoever, Kafa, whatever his name was. How much cycles are they using? And nobody was able to give me the answer. None of the doctors, nor the Prime Minister, nobody was able to get. And I tell them, look here, it is known that if you use 28, 29, 30 cycles to identify, it is known that you increase your chance of false positive very, very tremendously. And that is what most labs are using. We need to know all of this.
Let me ask you a question. Are you aware that at 11 o'clock we're going to be having the Caribbean?
Yes, I'm going to finish now.
No, I'm asking you if that's 11 o'clock, so that's a good way away. So are you going to listen into what they're going to be saying when they
I want to I would love to. I would try my best to, Clint.
Okay.
Yes. So, but it's going to be a call-in program. Do you know?
I just play it by ear. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll
I will
see.
try my best still to listen.
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm going to try to finish quick now. Without prolonging this stuff. So the inaccuracy of this test was known way back since 2020. Okay, and let's say, because I would call in and spoke, but they didn't want to hear. They cut me off, all sort of stuff. They cut me off. You know the usual.
Well, you should have expected that, because if the system, and I use the word system in brackets or inverted commas, if the system is pushing a thing, the system does not allow anyone to go contrary to what the system wants to push.
True.
You're aware of that? Yeah.
True that. Yes, true that. And I expected it. And even before he called in, I expected it.
Yeah.
Even before he called, I expected it. So the inaccuracy, the high inaccuracy was already known, but this information that just came out of Germany has been more specific in giving the percentage now, and it says up to 90% inaccuracy was this PCR test. So you see, a lot of corruption was in this because they knew it was inaccurate, but it was touted as the gold standard for identifying COVID, which was nonsense. So anybody want to hear more about it, read more about it, listen more about it, go again to YouTube, PCR Massively Wrong. The name of the page, Dr. John Campbell. That's on YouTube. And the name of the study, if you want to Google it directly, a calibration of nucleic acid, in bracket PCR, by antibody, in bracket IgG, test in Germany, a course of SARS-CoV to infection estimated. This study was done in Germany. Okay, thank you, Quinn. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's take a bit of a commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to play a clip that sort of ties into what I was discussing before in relation to how the West, rather than embracing certain people and making friendships because of certain countries deciding they wanted to be dominant and to have world dominance, they excluded and exclude certain countries, and how it's coming back now to haunt them, because what you did then, you know, the old saying, what goes around comes around, has a tendency to come around, right around and bite you.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
What are you doing?
She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh. Cause when we out and we active, living we life. So when we drink, we be drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Rude boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are, we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we be drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, we be drinking. Rude boy. Why?
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Man's 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And I'm back with you. The time approximately 10:31. And I'm going to play for you a clip. But before I play that, let me give you a little bit of background history. And that is in relation to geopolitics and what's happening in the world today. And in case you might think, well, you know, we're Little St. Kitts and Nevis. And I often hear people say, why don't we get the local news? The local news, yeah, local news is important. But the local news, as important as it is not as important as knowing how the world works. Because if you bring all of your local news exempting the politics and the intricacies that govern how the world works, then you will find yourself, as we often find ourselves, in a predicament when we deal with people coming from the outside world. And you know, whenever we're looking for investments, we're looking toward the outside world. We're looking towards individuals who are in that quote-unquote developed part of the world or developed countries. And if you're going to deal with developed countries and developed individuals, then at least you should have at least a basic idea of how they do business. So, right now we have a situation where in Belgium, the banks in Belgium are holding a large amount of money that belongs to Russia. The United States and a lot of European countries, including the UK and so forth, they want to take that money that really belongs to Russia, honestly, legally belongs to Russia, but just happens to be in their banks because, you know, you do business, so you do transactions and money gets dispersed here and tied up there and so on and so forth. So their monies, these European countries want to take this money and give it to the Ukraine. And the head of this country, Belgium, in which the main bank that controls most of what an entity called SWIFT, where the money is, he's warning the rest of the European nations that we can't do this. If we do this, it's going to be some hell to pay, and we're gonna wind ourselves in court. We're going to wind ourselves in litigation that could go on and on and on. And even more than that, we might very well find ourselves in a predicament because just as we can seize people's monies and use it for something else that is completely illegal, then we're opening a precedent where our monies that is tied up in other countries can then therefore be seized and used for other purposes. So he is having a big stance on this, and it's causing a lot of friction in the EU, right? Because Russia has threatened and says, okay, so we tell you don't take our money, and because this is money that you hold because some illegal transaction happened and you have something over their heads and you say, well, we're going to use that money. This is legal money, monies used for business transactions. And there are laws that govern such. But the EU thinks that because for 400 years they have oppressed the black people in Africa, that they can do it, and now their own people and others associated with them, certain habits that they practiced before is going to come back to haunt them. Because we know that a lot of corrupt leaders in Africa who bank their monies in Swiss and banks and all over the place, whenever they're toppled or there are questions as to how did you get this money and they can't give answers, that money just disappears. We never hear about it. So naturally, it means that these banks or whatever just takes the money and utilize it for whatever reason. We've heard an instance where certain monies from Little St. Kitts and Nevis, we hear about a briefcase of money somewhere, and next thing you know, we don't hear anything about that. Then we hear about monies in the UK with a certain leader, and we hear questions as to how did you get that money, couldn't answer question, bam, that money disappears. We're not speaking about those kind of nefarious dealings. We're speaking about monies that are placed legitimately in banks to be used for legitimate business purposes. And you can't just take people's money and decide you're going to do with it as you wish. So now, because of that situation, you find that because the EU and the United States and so forth want to use SWIFT, do your research, find out what SWIFT is all about, use SWIFT to confiscate Russian finances. It's causing some ripples. So listen to this clip.
On February 26, 2022, 2 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, the United States and European Union made a decision that would change the global financial system forever. They announced that Russia would be cut off from SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. This is the messaging system that connects 11,000 banks in 200 countries. It processes $5 trillion in transactions every single day. Cutting Russia off meant Russian banks couldn't send or receive international payments. No trade finance, no cross-border transactions, economic isolation. The West celebrated this as the nuclear option of financial sanctions. Russia would be crippled. The ruble would collapse. The economy would implode. Putin would be forced to withdraw from Ukraine or face revolution at home. But 2.5 years later, something unexpected happened. Russia didn't collapse. The ruble recovered. Russian trade continued, just not through SWIFT. Russia found alternatives. And worse for the West, dozens of other countries saw what happened and began building their own alternatives. Because if the U.S. could cut Russia off from the global financial system for political reasons, it could cut off anyone. The dominant power thinks it's wielding ultimate leverage, but it's actually destroying the foundation of its own dominance. Before I show you how the SWIFT weapon backfired, you need to understand what SWIFT actually is and why it matters. SWIFT isn't a bank. It doesn't hold money. It doesn't transfer money. SWIFT is a messaging system. When Bank A in New York wants to send $1 million to Bank B in Tokyo, SWIFT transmits the secure message between them. The message says, Bank A authorizes transfer of $1 million to Bank B. The actual money moves through correspondent banking relationships, but SWIFT is the communication network that makes it possible. SWIFT was created in 1973 by 239 banks in 15 countries. Before SWIFT, international payments used telex, which was slow, insecure, and prone to errors. SWIFT standardized messaging, created security protocols, and made cross-border transactions fast and reliable. Here's what makes SWIFT powerful. It's based in Belgium, technically neutral, but its board is dominated by American and European banks. And the U.S. has legal leverage because most international transactions settle in dollars through New York banks. This means the U.S. can pressure SWIFT to exclude countries or banks. If you're cut off from SWIFT, you can't easily conduct international trade. You're economically isolated. The U.S. has used this weapon before. In 2012, the U.S. pressured SWIFT to disconnect Iranian banks. This was devastating for Iran. Oil exports collapsed because buyers couldn't pay. Iran's economy contracted 9%. Inflation hit 45%. The sanctions forced Iran to negotiate, leading to the 2015 nuclear deal. The SWIFT weapon worked. But the 2022 Russia cutoff was different. This wasn't a small country like Iran. This was the world's 11th largest economy, a major energy exporter, a nuclear power, and a permanent UN Security Council member. Cutting Russia off from SWIFT wasn't just economic warfare. It was a declaration that the U.S.-controlled financial system could exclude anyone for political reasons. And every country watching understood the message. If you cross the U.S., you lose access to the global financial system. Your reserves can be frozen, your banks can be isolated, your economy can be strangled. Do you accept permanent vulnerability to U.S. financial power, or do you build alternatives? Most chose to build alternatives, and that's when the SWIFT maximum pressure. But financial weapons are like nuclear weapons. You can only use them once. After you use them, everyone builds defenses. Russia built alternatives. China accelerated CEPs. BRICS expanded. The petrodollar broke. And now, the SWIFT weapon is useless, because anyone the U.S. might target has already built alternatives or is building them now. The U.S. could have maintained dollar dominance through economic strength, free trade, and rule-based systems. Instead, the U.S. chose financial weaponization. Freeze assets, cut off SWIFT, use the dollar as a tool of coercion. This worked tactically against small countries like Iran, but against Russia, it backfired. This isn't prediction, this is pattern recognition. It's not just Russia that's leaving the dollar system, it's half the world. Financial weapons always backfire. The dominant power thinks it's exercising ultimate leverage, but it's actually teaching the world to build alternatives. And once the alternatives exist, the original system loses power. The SWIFT weapon destroyed SWIFT's monopoly. The dollar weapon destroyed dollar hegemony. And the country that benefits most is China, the patient rival that watched America destroy its own advantages. China didn't defeat the U.S. militarily. China didn't need to. America defeated itself by weaponizing the tools of its own dominance. The five-stage pattern is complete. The U.S. controlled SWIFT and the dollar. The U.S. weaponized them against Russia. Russia found alternatives. 50-plus countries are now hedging, and the weapon is losing power. This is the end of dollar hegemony. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. Not through military defeat, but through financial suicide. The SWIFT weapon worked once. It will never work again. Because the world learned the lesson. And the lesson is, build alternatives. Diversify away from dollars. Never be vulnerable to U.S. financial power again. If you understand that financial weapons backfire, if you recognize that the SWIFT cutoff was the beginning of dollar decline, not the peak of dollar power, then you understand the next 20 years of geopolitics. The dollar will decline, the yuan will rise, the world will be multipolar, and the U.S. will be weaker. Not because of Chinese aggression, because of American policy. The U.S. had the golden goose, and it strangled it with sanctions. Welcome to the post-dollar world. It's not here yet, but it's coming. The timeline is set, the pattern is clear. The SWIFT weapon was the trigger. And 20 years from now, historians will look back at February 2022 and say, that's when American financial dominance ended. They just didn't know it yet.
Yeah. So what does that say in relation to our little microcosm that we call the Caribbean? It seems to me that our Caribbean leaders are the only set of leaders who don't seem to understand that things change. And what you used to dominate me yesterday, you should not be able to use to dominate me today. It seems as if the only our Caribbean leaders are the ones who say, well, the U.S. is powerful, and the U.S. is and we got to be careful, and if the U.S. say jump, we jump, and if the U.S. gets a cold, we sneeze. It seems as if though we're the only ones who, after 400 years of oppression and suppression, have not learned anything, who seem to think that when our Caribbean leaders get together after, in St. Vincent, a leader wins, you get together and the whole Caribbean see you, every head in there joining together, but your voice is silent when ships are being bombed and your people are being killed. Where's your voice? No. Because on those things, you don't understand what is happening in the world, and you don't understand that if you, even in your little microcosm, start to make your voice be heard and say, well, okay, we don't like this and we don't like that, then you start to get a certain level of respect, and perhaps you can broaden your interactions with others as opposed to just staying in this little ball and thinking that you're okay because St. Vincent and St. Kitts and Barbados and whatever, they're showing unison where we see their leaders but we can't hear them on the important issues. The very same thing that the US and Europe tried to do to Russia is what they did to Venezuela. You hear about Venezuela, and ignorant people say, well, you know, if Venezuela people are running out of their country, the economy is a shamble. Why is it a shamble? Why is it that people are running out of their country? Because the United States and the West, rather than doing business the proper way, if they want to get what you have and they want to oppress you, they seize your money. They cut you off. They put sanctions. And they watch your people suffer, starve, and die. This is supposed to be a democracy, the bastion of democracy. You know, the people who represent peace, love, the land of the brave and the home of the free and the mighty. And they cut you off, seize your money, legal money, not illegal money, you know, money that you had there to do business. They seize it, they cut you off. You can't get imports, you can't get medicine, you can't get it. Look what they've been doing for so long to Cuba. All because Cuba decides, you're going to follow that and I'm going to follow this. So you're going to be a democracy and I'm going to be a socialist. And so you're telling me that you're going to kill me because you don't want me to have the freedom to choose what I want? And that is the way the world is running. And we as a people better wake up and see what is happening. Hello, caller.
Good morning, Quinn.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm good. No, Quinn, I'm listening to you, right? And the whole thing about it is that Caribbean leaders, the only strength they have is to keep their citizens poor and oppress their citizens.
Yeah, it seems so.
That's the only strength they really have. Is for the people of the country to keep the people down. Because, like you said, I mean, look at what's going on. You think as a Caribbean they'll come together and say, well, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Because it is wrong. No matter what, how you guys decide, it is wrong.
It is wrong?
Because when you look, you could say tomorrow, today for Venezuela, tomorrow could be for me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you just don't allow this man to come in our waters and do as he likes. Well, we're not sovereign country.
We're not.
We're not sovereign nation. I always say, who gives America authority over the world?
Who gave them?
Who gives them that authority over the world to think that you can rule the world? And then again, it falls back on the people. We're the ones who get these people involved because, like you said, we go up here and if America's snake, we get the cold. And I always say, come out of America's face and you won't catch the cold. Come out, get out of their face, and when they sneeze, you won't catch the cold.
You understand?
if you always go with your hands open and begging, what do you think that happens? They're going to control you. You come to me always want something, always begging, and that is why Trump is so brazen and so bold with the things he said, and call people dark country and this and that. Because even though the man is salty, he's still in his face grinning with him like he's the kind of Christmas.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. You put them in his place right away.
Yeah.
But instead they're going to smile and you know, the other day you and Africa were having a conversation and then you were Africa was talking about when the leaders them go and they get between these people. I forget the word what he used. But for me, when they get between these people, I think they feel like they have arrived.
Yeah, they do.
You know, they just feel like, wow, we have made it. I have arrived. They're so impressed with these people. I mean, give me a break. People who only have as much power over you, what you allow them to have.
Yeah.
And it's time now that we take back our power. Caribbean leaders need to stand up and tell Trump, get out of the Caribbean water. This is your territory.
Yeah.
We can't come into American water and do as we like.
You know?
Nobody can. You can't even play the East as you like. It's ridiculous.
On February 26, 2022, 2 days after Russia invaded Ukraine, the United States and European Union.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. But I'll continue to listen, please.
Okay, you take care and thanks for your interaction there. I was trying to erase this now that I've used it, so let me remove that there. Yeah, I saw my phone lighting up. If you feel you want to call and express, then feel free to do so. Again, if our leaders don't toe the line and do the things that they're supposed to do and you're silent, then you're empowering them. You're telling them that you agree with things the way they are and that it should continue in that vein. Okay? Well, I hear some voices, and I'm assuming that perhaps individuals who are supposed to be here for the Caribbean Public Health Agency COPPA interview, perhaps they might have already gotten here. I don't know. Let me take a bit of a commercial break, and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Mans 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
The battle for the crown is officially on. Sugar Mass 54 presents the Republic Bank Miss Teen St. Kitts and Nevis pageant. On Saturday, December 13th at 7 p.m., all eyes turn to the Water Park Cricket Stadium as 8 brilliant young queens step forward to represent their schools with pride, purpose, and poise. Cheer for Kimaya McDonald of Keon High, Tatiana Archer of the Immaculate Conception Catholic School, Kamira Williams of Virchow's High, Kaylin Brown of the Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Joel Nisbet of the Dr. Denzel L. Douglas Secondary School, Galia Philtu of the Baxter High School, Kato Rollins of the Washington Archibald High School, and Selena Alwani of Sky Academy. One stage, one crown, one unforgettable night, as these rising stars bring talent, elegance, and school spirit center stage. Who will rise? Who will shine? And who will take home the title? Find out live at the Water Park Cricket Stadium. Admission is only $50 for adults and $40 for children under 18. Tickets available at skncarnival.com. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core. Get ready for the sweetest showdown of the season. It's the Flow Junior Calypso Monarch, and this year it is sweet to the core. Sunday, December 14th, 5 p.m., St. Kitts Marriott Resort Plaza is the place to be. Guess what? It's free! The young stars are stepping up. Primary, secondary, voices sharp, lyrics hot, confidence loud. They're bringing rhythm, commentary, heart, and a whole lot of sweetness to the Calypso stage. Who's bringing the heat? Who's dropping the bars? And who will rise as the next Flow Junior Calypso Monarch? There's only one place to be, one vibe, one sweet, sweet showdown. Sugar Mass 54. It's sweet to the core.
And I'm back with you. The time 10:54. I'm going to see if I can squeeze in this final clip. That sort of ties into what I played before, where When the West, mainly the United States of America, after the world realizes that you have a trend, you have a way of doing things, the world understands that it has to survive, and its survival must not hinge on you. It must not depend on you because you don't care about the rest of the world. And because you don't care of the rest of the rest of the world must care about itself. Okay? And so the rest of the world, in caring about itself, find ways to deal with your trend that beats them, suppresses them, exempts them, sanctions them, does all kind of despicable things to them. So I'm going to play this clip where in Nigeria, as bad as certain things are, in certain ways, they are resisting United States hegemony.
What happened in Nigeria isn't just another currency dispute. It's the moment the American empire's mask slipped completely off. President Trump just threatened military action against a sovereign African nation for making an economic decision about its own oil exports. Think about that for a second. We're threatening war because Nigeria dared to accept payment in currencies other than the dollar. This isn't diplomacy. This isn't even traditional coercion. This is the desperate flailing of a declining empire that can no longer distinguish between its interests and the world's interests. And the most shocking part, Nigeria isn't backing down. For the first time in decades, we're witnessing an African nation look the United States directly in the eye and say no, not just to our demands, but to our threats. And that no is reverberating across every continent, inspiring other nations to question why they should continue submitting to American financial dominance. This moment will be remembered as the beginning of the end for dollar hegemony. But more than that, it reveals how completely Washington has lost touch with the reality of a multipolar world where America's word is no longer law. When Nigeria announced it would accept payment for oil exports in currencies other than the US dollar, the reaction from Washington was swift and telling. Instead of diplomatic engagement or economic incentives, Trump's response was immediate escalation. Accept our currency dominance or face vicious military consequences. The language was deliberately threatening, designed to intimidate not just Nigeria, but any other nation considering similar moves. But this threat exposed something crucial about America's current strategic position. We're running out of non-military tools to maintain our global dominance. For decades, dollar supremacy has been the invisible foundation of American power. When the world needs dollars to buy oil, when international trade requires dollar transactions, when central banks hold dollars as reserves, America gains what economists call exorbitant privilege, the ability to print money and have the world accept it as payment. This system allows us to run massive trade deficits, finance enormous military expenditures, and essentially export our inflation to the rest of the world. It's been the ultimate source of American global influence, more important than our military bases or diplomatic networks. But that system depends on participation being mandatory, not voluntary. And Nigeria just made it voluntary. Nigeria isn't some small, isolated country we can simply intimidate into compliance. This is Africa's most populous nation with over 220 million people, larger than Russia, twice the size of Germany. It's Africa's largest economy, rich in oil, natural gas, and rare earth minerals. It's the strategic gateway to West African markets, representing over 400 million people. More importantly, Nigeria has alternatives now. China has invested massively in Nigerian infrastructure, railways, ports, refineries, telecommunications networks, offering concrete development without demanding political submission. Where Western institutions provided decades of reports and conditional loans, China provided actual roads and power plants. This is the fundamental shift that Washington refuses to acknowledge. The unipolar moment is over. Countries now have choices. They can partner with China without regime change demands. They can trade with Russia without democracy lectures. They can work with Iran, Turkey, Brazil, and India while maintaining sovereignty over their domestic affairs. Nigeria's currency decision represents more than economic policy. It's a declaration of strategic independence. And Trump's military threats prove that America can no longer tolerate independence from nations it once took for granted. For decades, Nigeria has watched Western promises of partnership turn into demands for submission. When Europe needed alternative gas supplies after the Ukraine crisis, Nigeria had the reserves to help, But instead of simply selling energy, they demanded technology transfers, majority ownership for Nigerian companies, and climate support to help transition their economy sustainably. The West's response? Take it or leave it. Accept our terms or get nothing. Nigeria chose to leave it. When China offered infrastructure investment, they didn't lecture Nigeria about governance or human rights. They built railways and ports. When Russia offered energy cooperation, they didn't demand regime change. They shared technology and expertise. When Iran provided trade partnerships, they didn't impose political conditions. They offered mutual benefit. Meanwhile, American and European institutions continued operating as if it was still 1995, demanding structural adjustment, imposing conditional loans, and treating African nations as subordinate partners rather than sovereign equals. Nigeria's leadership drew obvious conclusions. Why accept Western dominance when alternatives exist that respect their autonomy and provide tangible benefits? This calculation extends far beyond economics to geopolitical positioning. In UN votes condemning Russia, Nigeria abstained, not because they support violations of sovereignty, but because they question the moral authority of nations that invaded Iraq under false pretenses, destroyed Libya despite promises of limited intervention, and enabled decades of occupation in Palestine. Nigeria's abstention was principled consistency. If international law matters, it matters for everyone. If sovereignty is sacred, it's sacred everywhere. They refused to participate in the selective application of moral standards that characterizes so much of Western foreign policy. This position resonates across Africa and the global South, where nations remember being lectured about democracy by countries that supported dictatorships when convenient, and being told about human rights by governments that armed death squads and funded coups. The credibility gap has become unbridgeable. American moral authority, once our greatest asset, has eroded to the point where our demands are met with skepticism rather than compliance.
And you notice the narrator says our, which means he is an American individual, but he's an American individual who feels that the American way and the European, the Western way of doing business is not applicable to modern day existence. Business should be business. I mean, you hear people say, oh, the United States and democracy, and they want to keep peace and democracy, and that works when you're not looking at what is happening around you. But when you're looking at what is happening around you and you realize that you're hearing about democracy in America and land of freedom and this and that, and you find that you're being hedged in, you're being exploited, your demands, every little thing that you want, demands come with it. Then you have China, and you say, well, you know, we don't want socialism, don't want communism, but look, China has been here and in Africa, and they have not imposed their will on people. You can still do business with China and be a democracy because they're doing business. So you hear when China comes and China is going to do a development, they're not telling you that you have to have regime change and you have to give a larger percentage of your own commodity. When Russia comes, Russia isn't giving you a lecture on democracy and saying, well, you know, we are socialists, so if we're going to do business with you, you have to move away from being a democracy. No, business is business on the merits of what you have, what we want to barter with you to get from you, because what you have we need, and so there's a bartering system, but not the United States of America. So after all these years, we're in the so-called United States of America's backyard, and the best she can do right now, if she wants to show some dominance, is to put the biggest aircraft carrier in her proximity and threaten war. And that is what you feel democracy is supposed to be? That is what freedom is supposed to look like? There are certain things that happen in our proximity in terms of the Chinese that our leaders are to blame for that. Because our Caribbean leaders are so foolish and so gullible that it seems to me as if when you come to do business with them, they say, okay, one of the criterions for you to do business with us is that you can do whatever you want to our people. So you think China made a demand that when they come and they do business here that they're supposed to have all the mom and pop shop? You think China stipulated that? You think our leaders couldn't have, as Keynes used to say, the one who we used to call Master Keynes used to say, they had legislations that certain businesses you couldn't come and do. If you're coming to do investment and development, then bring the investment and development. Don't take from us the little things that we have. But our leaders have no balls, no guts. I mean, they take begging to a despicable degree. I mean, even a beggar has pride. But it doesn't seem as if our leaders have any pride. They just go and they beg and they say, well, whatever you want to do to our citizens, you can do to them, just as long as you give us this. Come on, put legislation there that says all of the Chinese shops that are here right now that exist, they can exist, but henceforth, you're not going to come and be taking things that our people can develop. You understand? And start to find ways of empowering your people and letting your people. You want to tell me after all this time, your people can't open a little mom and pop shop and be successful at it? You want to tell me that we as a black people, we're more proud to put our money into Chinese hands and knowing that most of that money, rather than circling in our economy, is going to go back out? You want to tell me, with all the education that you say you've gotten over the years, and some of you have studied economics and business and marketing and all that kind of stuff, and you can't tell me, you're telling me you don't understand the basics of keeping your money circulating within your economy? You want to tell me your leaders don't know that? So yes, I go into Chinese shop and I buy, but it annoys me. And it's like I'm at the point where I'm forced to do it, because everywhere you turn they are, and if I want to buy something, where else? Where are the mom and pop shops? And our leaders are proud of that? Our leaders don't see what that will lead to in the future? Come on, man. Just despicable. Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Hey, good morning, Quint. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
You forget that all of these Caribbean countries sign off on the shippers, right? The American forces could follow any vessel anywhere they want to go into anybody's water. And if Trinidad had reject them from going into the area and they decide to go in, who could stop them? All they could do is make noise. You can't stop them. They show you that they always will show you that they have might and right and where they could do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's what they can do all the time. They have a lot of powers. They do.
They do. I know.
There's not much.
There's
not much we can do, but you can sound you whistle and say.
At least that. You can't stop it. That is what I'm saying. I am saying that at least sound your voice. At least say, look, I know I need your help, but I'm putting it on record that I don't like this. At least say that then.
Maybe they have, but
I don't think they have. I'm not going to give them that credit. I don't think they have. I do not think that they have as a united body.
In action, they are always consequent and the benefit of your action. What do you have to lose? What do you have to gain in being vocal? Sometimes one have to choose when to speak. One have to choose when not to speak. What are the benefits? What are the losses you're going to lose? You have to think. People who lead in have not only to think about themselves, but to think about the people in their surroundings. You remember when we last our visit with Canada? You remember the expression?
Yes, but caller,
then, Dr. Douglas?
Caller. Unfortunately, remember I was saying that we're supposed to have an interview.
Oh yes,
the
no
folks
problem.
Are here, so,
you go right ahead.
So I'm going to have to take that break.
I should respect that, because this is where you go. Do your thing, Quinn. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so.
This November and December, it's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on hire purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun. Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
What are you doing? She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active, living we life. So when we drink, drinking. Root boy. So when we drinking. Root boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, drinking. Root boy. So when we drinking. Root boy. Why?
This Christmas, make the season brighter with help from TDC Financial Services. Whether it's gifts for the family, a holiday home makeover, or that special celebration you've been dreaming of, our Christmas loan promotion is here to make it happen. Get up to $85,000 unsecured or $100,000 secured with affordable rates, fast approval, and the trusted service you know and love. Apply today at TDC Financial Services on Central Street, Bastyr, St. Kitts, or Main Street, Charlestown, Nevis. TDC Financial Services, your holiday, your loan, your way, where money is made easy.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
The right time, right ride, right now at Horsefoot's Automotive. Buy now or reserve for VAT discount days, Friday, December 12th and Saturday, December 20th, and get our lowest rates ever. Plus, enjoy up to $17,000 on select models. No VAT and no down payment. Drive away with finance with Horsefoots and get free bill of sale, free servicing for 12 months, free registration, free tinting, and even free groceries or gas for 3 months. Because the right time is here for the right vehicle with the right deal right now. Visit Horsefoots Automotive right now. Drive smart. Drive Horsefoots. Terms and conditions apply.
And we are back. The time 13 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour. We should have been started at approximately on the hour, but you know how life is sometimes. Better late than never. And we have our guests with us today. So without any delay, I'm going to go over to them and say good day. Welcome to the studios of winnfm 98.9. I'm told that you are associated with the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAPA. I don't know who would like to go to speak first, but to the lady and the guy, see that mic in front of you. Lady, you're going to have to go a bit closer so that you can speak into the mic. And the same when he's going to speak, don't move the mic like that. Just bring it up to you and put it in front of you, and you speak when it's her, and you alternate. You just speak into that, and I don't know who is going to go first.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. My name is Shane Curtin. I'm the head of Environmental Health and Sustainable Development at the Caribbean Public Health Agency. And I have with me today my colleague.
Hi, good morning. I'm Leanne Lagan, the Program Support Assistant in CAFA.
Good morning. My name is Owen Martin. I'm a Senior Environmental Health Officer at the Health Department in St. Kitts.
Yeah, you see how you were first? Stay that way, because when you go forward, half of your face is out of the shot.
Oh, okay.
The mic is good enough. See, you have a powerful voice. We hear you loud and clear.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, only those who might have to go closer to their microphones. So go ahead, you can continue.
Okay.
As to why you're here and so on and so forth.
So CARFA is in St. Kitts this week. We are finalizing the Climate Resilient Water Safety Plan for St. Kitts and Nevis. This is our second visit to the island. We would have started the initiative in July of this year, where we came to the country and we would have done a stakeholder analysis to identify all the stakeholders in the water sector. We would have done a comprehensive risk assessment of all of the particular risks and hazards to the water system, which includes the source, treatment, distribution, and user end. And we're here to finalize the particular plan with the country representatives.
Okay, that's one of the purposes, the purpose and value of Climate Resilience Water Safety Plan. Can anyone give us a little bit more detail as to what is that all about? Climate resilience and water safety.
So you would have heard from our heads of state over the past 5 years, longer for some heads of state, speaking about 1.565, the changing climate and how the Caribbean is to be impacted by the changing climate. Before we had a meeting here in St. Kitts, not CARFA, but the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, and it was the dry season carry-off. And out of that meeting, we would have discussed what is the current outlook for the next 6 months. But we also had presentations on research that is being done in the region, coming out of the IPCC, the most recent report. We have the UE Climate Studies Group, and we had a presentation from Professor Tunisia, and she would have presented to us what we can expect in the Caribbean across the next 100 years around climate, around rising temperatures, and that is where the Caribbean is, what the impact will be. So we know that we need to become resilient to the changing climate, and what CARFA wants to do is to build out these climate resilient health systems. So the water safety plan is going to be climate resilient, where we look at the potential climate impacts and assess the risk and put plans in place to address that risk.
Okay, when you say health and water, I'm kind of thinking I'm trying to understand, but I don't fully grasp it. Is it in terms of water safety? Is it in terms of what chemicals you put in the water? What is it really?
Okay, well, to respond to that, for us here in St. Kitts, it encompasses all of what you said.
Okay.
It would encompass the levels of chemicals we use in water treatment. It would include the quality of the water that reaches the taps. Mm-hmm. So this plan would assist us in St. Kitts at the Health Department and also at the Water Services in developing a framework that would link sampling with certain risks. So based on what we find at the sampling end, we would be able to identify certain risks that could show up in the system. That's one of the simple ways. Also, with the risk assessments, it would help us to prioritize certain areas, so we would know certain areas of the island and the type of water that is produced there, so that we could mitigate those risks early, that sort of thing. So the plan would encompass that, and if, as in anything, you would have breakdowns. So if we have any breakdowns, we know which areas to look at. The plan would identify who, what, when, where is responsible, and also how we're going to deal with the situations.
Yeah, we know that presently there have been, I don't know if it's still ongoing, but I know recently there was a bit of a rationing with the water supply and that kind of stuff. Is that still ongoing? And is that part of what the whole project is about, making sure that we get to that resilience and liability aspect of it?
All of that would fall under it. Unfortunately, we don't have someone from the Water Services Department that could speak about the quantities of water. But when it comes to health, we believe that safe water should be provided for all and not just in certain amounts. So we have included also the proposed desal plant in this plan.
Yeah.
So all of that was looked at. So not only quality but quantity. But
You know, that question crossed my mind as to whether you were aware of the desalination and how it's going to be used in terms of using desalination to complement what we now get from the land source and all that kind of stuff.
yes, sir, that was definitely looked at to the point where we left at the Marriott and on our way here, we left members of the Water Services Department. So they are also very integral in creating this plan. Also, we had other sectors from physical planning, people from environment, even education, because we know that if there is no proper water in the schools, we could also develop a problem. So
Yes.
we invited stakeholders from many different angles to ensure that the plan encompasses everyone, so that we wouldn't just be thinking from a health perspective, because we are trained in health, but we have so much other people, and everyone needs access to water. So we tried to reach out to as many stakeholders as possible. Even the NEMA was consulted.
Okay, now I see a lady in the proximity, and I've heard both men. So I think I would like to hear the lady's voice and your perspective on anything that has been said before. Perhaps you want to interject something we've not heard, but I'd like to hear from you at this point. Could you go a little bit forward? Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm just here to offer my company some support.
Oh.
So this is much of a learning experience for me.
Okay.
So I'm getting to experience what the environment is like in St. Kitts, how the water quality is, and how we're going to go about helping the country.
Okay, so, well, thanks for gracing us with your lovely presence. Thanks to you guys for bringing a lady to bring a different ambiance.
But just something that is perhaps not being done with the water safety plan, but it's related to how CARFA at the regional level is seeking to support all of our countries. And the young lady has developed a platform that would allow all of the EHOs from St. Kitts to join others from the region to be able to gather information, like opportunities, ask any questions, anything that they might want. She's developed a platform that allows them to do that.
So it is a platform where you can get information relating to.
Yeah, so the platform right now is a work in progress. Right now I'm just trying to get feedback from CARFA member states, so St. Kitts would also be included. And the aim is to have all resources related to environmental health, so it would also include water quality, water testing, the safety plan that we're currently working on, etc.
You know, it's interesting because I've heard about CARFA and I didn't know that CARFA played such a hands-on part in the different individual islands, health and water and that kind of stuff. I thought that you were just like a governing body that overseed and, you interacted but it's good to know that you have a hands-on approach.
Well, I would even respond, I wouldn't even allow them to toot their own horn. So I would prefer to step in here and say, to be honest, we are really grateful to organizations like CARFA because we receive lots of training on the regional level. Also, they come in and do and provide lots of technical support. So a lot of the things that you see us having updated systems, health systems especially, CARFA really assist us in things like that. So it's not just they are a body that tells us what to do. Where we have shortcomings, they do lots of training, they assist us with equipment to test water quality also. And also we do trainings with CAFA yearly. They have a yearly lab training where we go and we send someone and ensure that we get more people up to date and specialized in the field.
Wow, that's like I said, I was unaware. I thought that because we know how a lot of things function, you know, you hear about this body and you interact with them perhaps once, twice a year, you keep them afraid with what you're doing. But this ongoing link and training and so forth is very good. So let me hear from the guy on the other end now as to this ongoing link and how it has worked so far and what are the projections for the future.
Well, CARFA is what we will call an amalgamation of regional public health agencies. So we have, previously there was the drug testing lab in Jamaica, there was the CARFA Nutrition Center, there was CARIC, which is the epicenter, and then there was the department I currently lead, which was previously the Caribbean Remedial Health Institute. And we've been working in the region for over 5 decades. And I think that's where Orion would have interacted first before we became CARFA. But on becoming CARFA, we would have, through an intergovernmental agreement, been given a mandate to be the lead public health agency for the Caribbean region. We work very closely with PAHO, which is the Pan American Health Organization. This activity is actually funded by PAHO. So we're doing a lot. Where we're looking to go, we're looking to build systems in terms of surveillance so that all of the managers in health are able to have all the information required to make those key decisions. So we would want that on any given time, or at any given time, the CMO, the PS in health is able to know what is the quality of water in any district in St. Kitts and Nevis. That is where we want to get to. We also want to get to the point of having countries conduct monitoring for pesticides, conduct monitoring for antibiotic resistance in our waters, in our foods, in our health systems. So that's where CARFA is going, and we're looking to have more integrated systems across the Caribbean region.
Okay, we'll take a bit of a commercial break, and when I come back, I'm going to come back mainly to you and ask you what is your position, because I now realize you're a national, it seems. Okay, so what is your position, and perhaps elaborate a little bit.
No problem.
You found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
This November and December, it's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on hire purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun! Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Max 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, we're back. The time 11:30, and as I promised, we're going to go to this particular individual. I want you to start by saying your name and give us a little bit of a background history as to who you are.
Okay. My name is Owen Martin. I am a Senior Environmental Health Officer at the Environmental Health Department in St. Kitts. I've been employed, not to give away my age, for the last 28 years there. I am the officer that is responsible for water quality at this present time. So as Mr. Curtin stated, I had the privilege to go back many years ago to be trained by the then Caribbean Environmental Health Institute, SEHI, which has now merged to become part of CARFA. So I've been, even my baseline training in environmental health and water quality is due to partnerships that we have with those regional organizations.
So we can say you have a wealth of experience.
I would like you to say that, yes.
Don't try to be shy. Now, I noted that you said you were coming from Marriott. Am I mistaken that you?
You are correct. That's very
okay. So I want now first the other individual on that end to tell me what is happening at Marriott, what has been happening there. First him, and then after him, I'm gonna come back to you, and you're gonna give your perspective as what is happening in the Marriott.
Sure. So I noted that we are developing the climate resilient water safety plan for St. Kitts and Nevis.
Pull the mic a little bit closer to you, please. Yeah.
Apologies. So we're developing the climate resilient water safety plan for St. Kitts and Nevis, and we have invited the national stakeholders, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Environment, Water Services, Planning, Education, and we are presenting to them the findings from our previous mission, the analysis that we've done on the stakeholders and the risks that we've identified, and the proposed plan. And the stakeholders are currently reviewing line by line. We are currently discussing. We're having a robust discussion. There are critiques about what we propose. We have counter positions. It's extremely, to me, very, very rigorous, I would say. And by the end of this week, we should have all the comments from all the stakeholders, and then CARFA would incorporate the comments, address the guidance that we received, and then return the plan back to the Ministry of Health for review and then acceptance of the plan.
Now, to you now, and tell me the local perspective, why you're there and what's happening and how it will evolve from our perspective.
Okay, well, as Shane noted, we are going through the process, as he said, line by line with all the stakeholders and allowing everyone to make their input. You know, where you can bring your expertise from your area, whether it is education, water, and so that the plan would not leave out anyone. The important part for us, and which I saw very important, is that they decided to come in country to even assist us in going through line by line, because you could ask someone to do a plan for you, and then, you know, they could go through their risk assessments and then write a plan and just send it to you and say, this is your plan.
Yeah.
But they took the time to come back, and they are listening to all our critiques, all our additions, all our subtractions, and that would make the plan ours,
yes,
you know,
yes,
rather
yes.
than
more
it being
applicable
correct,
to,
sir,
yes.
correct. So that's really important for us. As they said, we've been going through this process from since Monday, going through it, the different chapters day by day, and it's really progressing, and it's interesting to see the different perspectives from the different sectors. So it's going really well.
Okay, so that's good. So again, I'm going to go back to the individual on the extreme end. What And why is the relevance of CAFA in relation to climate changes and that kind of stuff and its impact on the environment and water and that kind of stuff? We see what recently happened in Jamaica and how they have been devastated. So bring to me why you feel there's an importance for what you're doing as it relates to climate resilience.
CARF is the lead in the region for the regional security mechanism for health security, regional coordination mechanism for health security. And through that, we would lead the response to a health emergency, but we are also the health lead in the SEDEMA, which is the Caribbean Disaster Agency, in their response mechanism. So CARFA responds. We are currently in Jamaica. We would have done some capacity building for a field hospital in Barbados. We would have brought together professionals from all across the Caribbean, Aruba, Suriname, as deep south as Bahamas, Jamaica, and we would have taken them through emergency preparedness and response, putting together a field hospital, living in a field hospital, and working within like a triage system. And unfortunately, we have the current situation in Jamaica, Hurricane Melissa. But what CARFA was able to do was to mobilize the same team that we trained, and that was just this year in Barbados. So we sent a request to the countries to release the persons that we've trained, the doctors, nurses, health officers, and allow them to go to Jamaica to support Jamaica. So we currently have a field hospital set up in one of the affected areas, and they're currently providing some services. And CARFA has, as part of that team, one of our technical officers who leads emergency and response. So that's on the disaster end. But in terms of climate resilience, as the health lead, we want to be able to ensure that any impact to the health system, to public health in general, can be mitigated. We can adapt to the particular event. So whether it's climate change that we're preparing for, whether it's a pandemic, where CARFA would have supported the countries, getting vaccines, doing surveillance, providing support. We just want to be as positioned as best as we can to support countries in response to whatever the particular hazard is.
Yes, so, and now, back to you now. Considering what he said and what CARFA has been able to implement in the recent fiasco that Jamaica is in, how do you see that playing out in the event that we have, should happen to have that kind of stuff? Do you see what is being done now impacting how it unfolds in terms of disseminating help and assistance and that kind of stuff from our perspective?
Yes, I do, and it's really important that we have these things that we are capable of falling back on. We do not plan, we do not wish, we hope not to have any disasters, but these sorts of mechanisms that CARFA puts in place, that shows the importance. Now, if they did not have that training just this year, what would have been the response?
Yeah.
So I always say that CARFA is very proactive. They look at things from different perspectives, and sometimes when we're doing these trainings, you wonder, okay, well, and then until it comes to fruition, and you say, we are prepared.
Yeah, you wonder, well, will this be implemented?
Right.
What's the relevance of this presently? But
Right.
then it plays out in time.
And that also ties in back to what we're doing this week with the water safety plan. We test the water regularly in St. Kitts, and based on those findings, we issue drinking advisories if needs be. You are around long enough to know that after hurricanes, you would hear the Ministry of Health issue a drinking water advisory.
Yeah.
That is not off of guess, that is off of tests we conduct and stuff like that. And this water safety plan would just not only be there for us, for future generations, that you can just fit in and have something that is written, a document, and we could just plug and play the players along the line so that if anything occurs, we'll be prepared. It's really a preparedness document.
Okay, so let me go back to the individual on the end. What are the pros and cons that you've seen? Most likely you've seen some things that are looking good, and maybe in the short term they would unfold, and I'm sure you've also seen some cons that might need some, tweaking and that kind of stuff. So I would like your input on that.
So the entire Caribbean, we are now, well, majority of countries are now coming off of independence, and we're all colonized. But that is to say that we are very similar in terms of where we are, many systems that we have in place. So you'd find that the water distribution system in many countries, it's really almost the same.
Okay.
Decades and decades ago, pipes were ran, systems were built, collection systems. So not just in St. Kitts, but across the whole Caribbean, we need to be doing some updates and upgrades to our systems, just to protect us from some of the emerging risk. We are living now in an era where risks are not just, we speak about major risk, and not just about bombs and so on in terms of warfare, but the ability to impact or affect an entire country by targeting something like a soft target like water. So how we as the Caribbean can prepare for that, increase our security at our distribution sites, our pumping sites, not just in Kitts, the entire Caribbean region, how we can ensure that we not only deliver running water to communities, but we ensure that the water is safe, that we ensure that we are responding to whatever hazard occurs. We have a plan in place. We know what to do. Every stakeholder knows what to do. We don't all have to run to the radio station to say one thing, because we all know how we should respond together in one voice. Having that coordination together is also important. In terms of what I would say is the greatest strength, to me, is the interest of the stakeholders. So we have the Minister of Health with us in the room, and the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, is extremely responsive, advocates for the support from CARFA. The Permanent Secretary in Health, B.S. Martin, he ensures that if we have a request, that health responds quickly. He ensures that he joins some of the sessions. He's in the room listening to what is happening. He participates. I think that is a real positive. We have the environmental health managers who, in other CARFA meetings, have been advocating for support to St. Kitts. St. Kitts wants that support, right? That is the response of the managers. Martin, Leader, Riley, they want the support coming to St. Kitts. And I think, to me, that is the greatest positive, that St. Kitts could know, St. Kitts and Nevis could know that there are professionals from St. Kitts going out to the region requesting support to build out St. Kitts.
Now, back to you. Correct me, I've heard it, I could be wrong, but I've heard that in terms of where the water, is that place Lagreet, where the water thing is that the only one that we have that does that job?
That does water treatment?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Lagreet has, there is treatment done at all the water distribution systems. Yes. But why people would say that, I'm sure, is that because back in the day, it was the only
one.
Yes.
What I was hearing is that there would be another one. I don't know if it was just rumor. Another similar to that, where you can see it, where the treatment is housed in a. I don't know.
As I said earlier, there are some questions that are for the Water Services Department.
Yes.
I deal with the quality aspect. So,
okay.
But what I can say is that in my years there have been major improvements and also in the treatment processes throughout the island. So they're headed in the right direction, and with this plan, as I said, that we will further enhance that. And I'm
Okay.
sure coming out of this plan, there will be greater plans going forward with more proper disinfection.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go to the young lady and ask a question, because as a young person observing, you observe and you learn. So tell me, what is the impression that you've gotten so far from what you've learned? As a young person, tell me how you feel about the environment and your learning process.
So with this workshop that we're doing for drafting the water safety plan for St. Kitts and Nevis, I think that it's really important, and in the view of a young person and a young professional, I have done some research on Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica, and I saw a lot of the impacts, health impacts specifically, as well as the impacts it had on infrastructure like hospitals. And one of the main things was that the hospitals immediately lost water as soon as the hurricane made landfall. And I think that it is important for St. Kitts and Nevis to adapt to this water safety plan. So in the instance, God forbid, there's a hurricane that is heading its way, the country has, structures and systems in place to avoid what has happened to Jamaica.
Yeah, good backup systems. Yeah. Okay. You wanted to say anything there?
No, I was agreeing with that. That is,
Okay.
those are important things, because the loss of running water and water of good quality really doubles down on the impact of a disaster.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. So I want now to go back to the individual on the end there and give me a summation of everything that you, from a perspective in terms of what CARVA has done, is doing, and intend to do. Sort of a wrap up to give the audience, especially people who tuned in late, to get a sort of a view of what this is all about.
I think I would want to recognize my executive director, Dr. Lisa Ndar, for allowing us to provide the support to the country. I would want to say that CARFA is our agency, the Caribbean. I'm from the Caribbean. It is our agency. It is our public health agency. It is staffed by our regional professionals, and we work to support the Caribbean. We have no other interest than to protect the health of the Caribbean region. We want to enhance public health. We want to ensure that there's a safe and resilient environment across the Caribbean. We want to ensure that we do whatever we can to meet those demands from our countries. We want to provide all those services to improve the work first of the Caribbean nationals, but also the health of the populations. We, as well, a department within CARFA, we want to ensure that the environmental health programs are operating at optimal level. We want to ensure that they have the capacity to monitor and conduct surveillance for any risk from the environment to health. We want to ensure that all of the programs around climate and health reach all of the countries. We want to ensure that all of these systems that can be impacted by climate change are strengthened, that they are more resilient, and we can, if impacted, bounce back even better. So CARFA is here to provide that support, and we are at the back and call to our member states.
Yes, and now back to you, and give a summation again as to what CARFA has done from your perspective, how is that it has impacted you in your specific field of testing and that kind of stuff, and how does it look unfolding into the future?
Well, I wanted to highlight from the Ministry of Health and Environmental Health Department that the collaboration with CARFA is of vital importance to our department, not only with funding and equipment, but also technical support and training. As I myself said earlier, I am a recipient of continuous training from them in not only water quality fields, but other fields related to environmental health. And CARFA, as he said, has no other interest other than public health in the Caribbean. So we know that the information that we share, the information that we get from them, is only to our benefit and to advance public health, and that is all we are trying to do.
Yes, and so that you see this unfolding to only good things in the future.
Yes, but as I said, I've been there for a good amount of time, so I'm not new to this, and the thing about it is that I can see the constant progress.
Yes.
As things change, you would see CAFA's difference. You would see they emerge. They would more or less morph into another
stage,
as we go along and as we face certain trends, because we all know that we were not facing this with the climate change.
Yes.
It's a new phenomenon, and to see that CAFA still maintains the lead in trying to, even though they have the same mandate of public health, they're now incorporating the aspects of climate change. So it's of real importance, and I can see nothing but good things in the future coming.
Yeah. Well, I must say thanks to the three of you for coming here. It has been a pleasure. It has been enlightening. We have learned a lot. You are versed and informed, and so we look forward to an ongoing relationship between CAFA and the integrated Caribbean region. And also we feel good. I for one feel good to know that there's a governing body who is there and who offers assistance even before we are, ready for it. Is there in the waiting. Okay, so is there anything final that anyone wants to say?
Yeah, I would just want to extend sincere thanks from the entire CARFA staff and our management for facilitating us, having us on the show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
You're
Give us
most
the opportunity
welcome.
to speak to your audience and have you ask us questions that are important to St. Kitts and Nevis. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, is there anything you want to say?
Well, just wanted to say thanks for the time, and also to, just say it was a pleasure being here.
Well, it was good to meet you and to know that you're one who is integral in the testing of our waters and the safety of, that commodity.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for your experienced input.
No problem.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
This November and December, it's triple the fun at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Shop on higher purchase during our triple cashback season and get triple cashback coupons for free groceries. Plus, a chance to spin the wheel to win every Friday.
Join Sugar Bowl live in store as 3 lucky customers each week spin for fabulous prizes. From flat screen TVs and small appliances to housewares, free groceries, and much, much more.
It's excitement, rewards, and comfort rolled into one. Triple the cashback, triple the prizes, triple the fun. Only at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store. Hosford's, where style, comfort, and savings live.
The countdown is on. The sweetest season of the year is here. From December 13th to January 2nd, St. Kitts and Nevis comes alive once more with vibes galore, energy to explore, and moments sweeter than ever before. Sugar Mans 54, sweet to the core. The stage erupts with the passion of Calypso, the sweet sound of Pan, the heat of Soca, dazzling pageants and traditions that make you love Carnival even more. Dance to the streets at Juve, celebrate folklore, and revel in the Grand Carnival Parade, a celebration of rhythm, color, culture. Sugar Mass 54, sweet to the core.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're just about over 11:54. Rather interesting and good to know that we've got individuals who are monitoring and planning for the implementation and renovation and so on and so forth of our water and other infrastructure within our given societies in the Caribbean region. It's always good to know that we have competent individuals who are in the forefront, of making sure that we are a healthy and productive nation and nations by extension. Now, before I close, before that bit of an interview there with Kafa, we had a call that I had to abruptly sort of stop. My apologies for that, but you know how it is sometimes. And to that particular caller, who I know very well, I say to him, I hear you, I understand what you're saying, but I'm also saying that even though I hear you and I understand what you're saying, we should never have the impression that because we are a small society and that we are dependent on so much from the outer world that we have to always accommodate everyone at the expense of ourselves. Meaning, yes, I know our leaders go out and they know that they have to represent themselves. They have a people to represent. They've got to be very cautious as to what they can go and what they can garner to enhance the development of their country. But what I am saying, and what a lot of us are saying, is that we do not want you to always go out there as if though you are complete beggars and you have no alternative other than to accept what is given to you without saying, well, okay, I understand that I need your assistance, but I still think that I deserve this, and I deserve a level of respect when I associate with you. You understand? Because after all, I am as you term us, I am a developing country, and if I'm to develop with some assistance from you, I think that the interaction should be amicable, not condescending. You understand? Not that because you feel that you are giving me some assistance that you can look down your noses at me and make certain ridiculous demands of me and I should just acquiesce. Our leaders need to understand that. Having said that, as always, it has been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for taking the time to be there, and I'll see you again, the Almighty Creator sparing our lives to do so.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
Ready to make this holiday season your biggest and brightest yet? Whatever the reason, come to National Bank this season. For the perfect gifts, new furniture, or new appliances, get up to $150,000 unsecured. Or for that brand new vehicle, drive off with up to $250,000. No down payment, no interest rates, and fast approval. Whatever the reason, come to National this season. Skip the holiday rush and apply online at www.sknanb.com. This offer ends January 31st, 2026. Apply today.